Everything Suspect Podcast. It's your boy Billy D. You know how we do. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. So bust it. This was one that's kind of been controversial just for the 24 hours that have just passed. And that was the NCAA Women's Championship for basketball. Yes. LSU versus Iowa. Being from North Carolina, I've only been given two options. That's Carolina and that's Duke. I was never one to be into it. Maybe it's because I'm originally from like West Virginia. So for those who don't know, in North Carolina is Carolina, Duke. You got to choose one or you're just not a North Carolinian. And I had reason to like both teams. I went to church and grew up with Brendan Haywood, who ended up he went to Dudley in Greensboro, then went to Carolina. I met Dean Smith, super cool dude while he was playing for him. He went off to play with Jordan, and then he retired after playing with LeBron. So like I got a thing for Carolina. Was not a Michael Jordan fan, but I can't not give respect to Carolina for producing the GOAT. All my family members who are engaged in college sports, especially Carolina versus Duke, are Duke people. I rock with Coach K heavy. So for me, I was on this weird trend of I don't care who wins it as long as the trophy comes home. That was just me. But recently, as I've been watching more sports, LSU has been like the thing that I've been rocking with. I spent some time in Louisiana when I was stationed in Mississippi. I like what they produce. I like Shaq. Remove Ben Simmons. I wanted Leonard Fournette coming out the draft when we got as a Panthers fan. I wanted Leonard Fournette as our running back, but we took Christian McCaffrey. That's cool. No buyer's remorse. But I like Leonard Fournette. I dug Odell. I dug Landry. I even like what Burrow's doing right now. So, but after what I just saw over the past 24 hours, has officially made me an LSU fan. And that's primarily due to Angel Reese and all the heat that she's been getting, the love, the praise. She's becoming a polarizing figure for something that she did. But the thing that made me want to do this podcast or made me or like really like push the tipping scale to want to do it, Sha'Carri Richardson. Nobody till this point has brought up Sha'Carri Richardson. And Sha'Carri Richardson is also a LSU woman. And if, for those who don't know, I had one of the most incredible podcasts with my sister, shout out to Nish, talking about females in sports. And Sha'Carri was one of the figures that we covered. And so to see what Sha'Carri went through and then to turn around a year later and we look at LSU and what they just did as far as like their basketball team goes and have Angel be this giant right now that is going to change the game. But what I want to do is I don't want to take the road that everybody else is taking. And that is the race thing or the female thing or whatever, or, you know, so we all know Caitlin Clark has been killing the game all season long. Let me take that back. We didn't know that because it's really upsetting me that all of these media outlets, especially like sports, ESPN, your FS1s, like now all these cats want to get on their platforms and talk about, well, I've been watching Caitlin Clark for the past season, 2 seasons. Oh, and let's talk about, they're all acting like they've been following these young ladies' career when they haven't. All they talk about is the Cowboys, LeBron, Tom Brady, repeat. And now they want to get on and act like they've been following female sports, and they have not. So I'm not going to get on here and act like they have either. The take that I am coming from is one of, are they hoes or are they idiots? because they all need to be removed. You understand what I'm saying? We aren't giving these young ladies the opportunity to be anything other than names, other than moments, when they are much greater than that. I'm realizing that like women issues are really taking like a hold, or they're really weighing on me differently, just because like I'm a father. Like I'm a father of like a grown woman, and I'm also the father of a small child. So like women's rights have really been a thing that have engaged me, because I'm thinking about how it's going to affect my daughters. So when I look at this stuff, not really tripping off of like the moment, I'm tripping off of like the longevity of this thing, right? But I'm also like, I'm looking at it from a father perspective, but I also want to look at it as a woman thing, in which they need to grow and not be bound and not be held back by men in these situations. What do I get? Are they women, or are they idiots, or are they hoes? Because what weighed on me was this. Let's take it all the way back to about 15 years ago. Bomb.
Girls from Rutgers, man, they got tattoos and
some hardcore hoes.
That's some nappy-headed hoes there, I'm going to tell you that now. The girls from Tennessee, they all look cute, you know, so.
Spike Lee thing.
Yeah.
The Jigabos versus the Wannabes, that movie that he had.
Yeah, it was a tough...
do the right thing.
When Imus said nappy-headed hoes, it sent the world ablaze. What happened yesterday, when we look at Keith Olbermann on there, he sees it and calls her a effing idiot. Imus called the Rutgers girls nappy-headed hoes. So, which one is it, right? When it should be neither. Then you look at Sha'Carri and what Sha'Carri went through and the names that she was being called. You know what I'm saying? Like, so in every time where there's greatness in these black women, there is somebody who finds offense. But with Keith Olbermann, this one is different. Even when it came to Imus was trying to make a joke, but it came off offensive because it was an ignorant joke. Keith Olbermann, what he doesn't realize is that his apology made it even worse for him, because he called this woman a effing idiot. As a man in his 40s, there's nothing that a 20-year-old, which is the age of Angel, there's nothing she can do, especially online or especially on TV, that would invoke me to feel the need to call her a effing idiot. Like, nothing that she could ever do would invoke that kind of anger or for me to disrespect her in such a way. Even if what she did was out of line or out of pocket, I would never feel the need to call a 20-year-old. I have kids older than Angel. I would never think to call them idiots. And Keith Olbermann is 64. He's lived 3 times longer than this female, but yet he felt the need to call her that. Why isn't Olbermann getting the backlash? Is it because he jumped out in front of it early enough to where he didn't have the opportunity for Twitter or angry people or the cancel culture to grab a hold of him? Because if that's the case, and I'm not campaigning for anybody to lose their job or get removed or whatever, but it's like what he said after was like, oh, yo, I want to apologize real quick. I don't watch sports. I don't watch women's sports. I don't watch men's sports. I don't watch basketball. I don't watch none of this stuff. Like, I don't do any of that stuff, man. So like, I ain't even know what was going on. So like, I apologize. Bro, if that's how you feel and if that's really how you live, that makes it worse. Because what that means is you just saw something and that was your natural reaction. As a 64-year-old man, you're about to be a senior citizen next year. And you saw one thing that had nothing to do with anything that you follow. and you report the news. And instead of like being the journalist that you are and trying to figure out what is going on, why is this happening, blah, 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 you jump to a person who is 40 years younger than you and call them a effing idiot. Why would you do that?
The only reason anyone would have been outraged, except for this select few that were furious with Caitlyn a week ago, of which I have seen almost none, right, are folks that whether they know it or not, some people right now are watching saying that bothered me, it had nothing to do with race. Yes, it did. Whether you are recognizing, admitting it or not, seeing that taller, proud, imposing black woman taunt that white girl, something in your reptilian brain, it bothered you.
For me, Angel, this is the best thing that could have happened to her, because you can tell in her post-game speech that this is going to fuel her. Like, Sha'Carri, when she went through it, she didn't have this reaction that Angel had. And I'm not trying to compare the two, but I'm just speaking real talk, real facts. Like, there was something in there, and I think, and it might be because of the way that Sha'Carri was attacked, that she just felt the need to just like whatever y'all think, whatever. Whereas with Angel, she was like, nah, this W is a product of what y'all did this. I'm overcharging people for what they did to the Cold Crush. That's what this was. You know what I'm saying? Like, she fueled it. She felt like she was playing for every black girl, and she's 20 years old. What she did was amazing. It was dope. And the problem that y'all got is she ain't going nowhere. She's coming. She ain't even here yet. So what needs to happen is Caitlyn needs to stay the course of how dope and how good she is, because regardless of how great Angel was that night, Caitlyn was dope all season long and broke all these records, right? So what I need to happen is Caitlyn not to be hemmed up and not to feel some kind of way or whatever, you know what I'm saying, because of, losing at the end. And what I also need is for Angel not to feel some kind of way because of the backlash that she getting for flexing because she won. I need both of these females to keep that energy. I need both of them to be arrogant and be dope and grow in their craft. You know why? Because all we've been hearing is how the WNBA sucks. They need ratings. They need fair pay. They want this. They want that. They couldn't stand up correctly, if you ask me, for Brittany Griner. And don't get me started on that, because I did a podcast on that. I am a proponent of black, and not only black, but females doing their thing and being successful and overcoming the odds. Stop this one and just go hit videos on my channel, and you're gonna see how many podcasts I've done on dope females, because I've also called out grimy bras too. What I need right here is for Caitlyn and Angel to be the new Magic and Bird, because that's what we're looking at right now. They came into the NBA after facing each other in the NCAA championship and balled and got drafted the same year, and one went to Boston and one went to LA, and they were bitter rivals until Mike came in and sent them boys home. But what it did was it gave an excitement to the NBA. And one thing that the WNBA has needed is some kind of rivalry, is some kind of issue, some kind of beef. We all need a little bit of WWE in all sports. And daggone it, I think the WNBA finally has it. But more importantly, if you and what I'm saying, and I'm saying this to everybody, especially men in the media, if you are on here right now talking about the game that you saw last night between LSU and Iowa, 2 years from now, when these young ladies get into the league, into the WNBA, can we please talk about them on your Undisputeds? On Stephen A. Smith, are you going to have them? You know what I'm saying? Are they going to be topics, or are there WNBA teams going to be topics on First Take? Is it going to be on First Things First with Chris Broussard and Nick Wright? Is it going to be on Speak? Well, it'll probably be on Speak because Joy makes sure like the females is represented. But can we just double down and make sure that like they're going to be on all these platforms, and y'all not just going to be talking about the Cowboys? You're not just going to be talking about LeBron. You're not just going to be talking about, you know what I'm saying? Like, can we just make sure that we keep that same energy when these young ladies get into the league? Because for everybody to be talking about equal pay and y'all want the WNBA to get all these rights and all this stuff, y'all need to be a part of what brings people to it. Lastly, women with your girl power and your positivity and your go girl and your independence and all of that stuff that y'all into right now, you know, this feminine, this, you know, female movement and all of that stuff, y'all gonna buy tickets to these games? WNBA players need their people to show up for them, not just men. I don't have an issue with buying 3 tickets and taking my daughters to go see a WNBA game. Do you? Will you do it? Somehow, some way, when these women were going through something that will be a cornerstone of their life and especially their professional career, they were called hoes, or they were called idiots by men who have no business calling anybody that. I'm not cool with no 60-year-old man calling my daughters an idiot or a hoe. That's a problem. And I'm sure that these men, if they have daughters, they would have an issue with it too. So what we have to do is eliminate that from the media. And we have to give grace to young people, young ladies and young athletes when they're in the mix. And that goes for your Sha'Carris, and that goes for your Simones, and that goes for your Cocos, and that goes for, you know what I'm saying, all these young ladies that are out here doing things under amazing circumstances. You have to represent them better, and you can't disrespect them when they're better at their job at 15, 16, 20 years old than you was when ever. They're better at their job than you are at yours. And you can't do their job better than they can do yours. All you do is talk. You can't dribble, you can't run, you can't play no tennis, you can't get on no balancing, you can't do no floor exercise like them. They better than you. So what we doing? We just saw a game-changing moment for basketball, for ladies basketball. The question is, will society, will the media, will social media, and will females who are proponents of women empowerment, especially in sports, be able to take this moment and run with it and empower the female athlete? What y'all think, man? Let me know. Everything Suspect Podcast. Y'all chill.
Everything Suspect Podcast.